Bexar County, leaving not one, but 2 children dead.
The deputy was simultaneously trying to perform CPR on both children, but unfortunately was not successful to that point.
And another suspect now wanted in connection to the killing of Simon Cuevas. What you need to know about Andrew Cantu. And a prolific inventor lost in a tragic accident yesterday when a jet engine fell on him. Hear how David Monroe's impact reached far beyond San Antonio.
Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
Tonight, 2 young children are dead on the far west side, but questions still remain as to exactly what happened. The Night Team Zaria Oates has been on the scene and following this closely. Zaria, what can you tell us?
Hey, JP, yeah, just 30 minutes before we came on the air, we found out the identities of those 2 young children who died at this home here behind me. The 3-year-old's name is Mayani and the 6-year-old's name is Cezani. And just before we came on the air, just a few minutes ago, we found out that their mother is being charged in their death with 2 counts of injury to a child causing bodily injury, severe, serious bodily injury, or death. We don't know if more charges will come soon, but Sheriff Javier Salazar said that he will keep us posted and that they will continue to investigate what led to these children's death. Here's a little bit about what Sheriff Javier Salazar had to say earlier today.
When the deputies arrived, the children had already been taken inside the residence.
Several Bexar County deputies responded to a call about 2 children left in a hot car. We now know both children died. One was a 3-year-old little girl, and the other was a 6-year-old little boy with autism. However, Sheriff Javier Salazar says he's not sure how this happened.
The initial report was that the children were left in the car. However, I can tell you, without going into too much detail, unfortunately, I'm not able to go into too much detail, there just are some inconsistencies with the story that we're being given.
About how long do you believe the kids were in the car for?
The last time the mom reports having seen the children was about 10 o'clock this morning when she fell asleep. And then around 3 o'clock is when the children were found, reportedly.
A medical examiner made it to the scene, but we're still waiting on a confirmed answer as to how the 2 children died. Considering the initial call for help was about children being left in a hot car, we reached out to University Health's Director of Injury Prevention about why children being left in vehicles is life-threatening.
In a matter of 10, 20 minutes, it can skyrocket an additional 20 degrees. And so if it's already 90 degrees outside, a vehicle can spike up to 120. And when a vehicle has been outside for some time, we have seen temperatures as high as 160, 180 inside of a vehicle.
If you come upon a child locked in a car, make every intent to open the doors initially. If they're locked, at that point, it's safe to say, break a window, do whatever you have to do to get that kid out of there.
Sheriff Javier Salazar did also say that they have received a call for service to this home before for this family that did involve CPS. He couldn't give an exact time frame on when that call came in, but of course now we know that the mother is charged with 2 counts of injury to a child. That mother is Tiana Islar. We also know that Bexar County deputies are asking anyone in the area, any neighbors, if they have any surveillance video of what may have occurred outside of this home today, September 20th, between the hours of now 1 p.m. and about 3:30 p.m. is what Bexar County deputies are asking now. If you can get that information to them, you can contact the office at 210-335-6000. Live on the far west side, I'm Zaria Oates.
Zaria, thank you. Now from one tragedy to another, a prolific inventor and a driven entrepreneur. That is how 72-year-old David Monroe is described by those who knew him. Monroe tragically died Friday when a jet engine fell on him while he was at work. Those close to him are mourning, but tell me, his legacy will live on.
Thank you. Thank you for being a mentor and a friend.
It's a difficult moment of reflection as a STEM visionary died Friday. David Monroe, the founder of the San Antonio Museum of Science and Technology, or SAMSAT, had a jet engine fall on him while he and a coworker were transporting the engine at Boeing Center at Techport.
David was an amazing inventor and entrepreneur, was a one-of-a-kind person who could take a technology, explain it to you, build it from scratch, and then create a strategy to bring it to the whole city in an impactful way.
Colleague Cliff Zinkgraf explains Monroe was a great service to the digital age, working at DataPoint Corporation, a large computer company here in town during the 70s and 80s. Zinkgraf adds Monroe's contributions were not just felt here in San Antonio, but across the world.
He holds the patent for the first use of a camera and a cell phone. I think he'll be remembered for his contributions to technology all over the world and for the impact that he made on students and families in San Antonio through his work at SAMSAT.
In a statement, SAMSAT and David's wife, Lorena, wrote in part, his final chapter was bringing this impact to all corners of San Antonio. He'll be greatly missed by his family, friends, and colleagues at SAMSAT and beyond.
His legacy will continue, and the team here will continue to build SAMSAT and bring these amazing benefits that he built to our community.
A man is in critical condition after being shot early this morning. According to San Antonio police, the shooting happened around 3 a.m. between South Pine Street and Baldwin Boulevard. That's on the southeast side. Police say a man who was driving pulled over to speak with someone. Then while talking, the person he pulled over for shot him. The shooter has not been caught. The investigation is ongoing. And San Antonio police are searching for a fifth suspect in the shooting death of a 14-year-old boy. This person here on your screen is 17-year-old Andrew Cantu. Officers believe he was involved in the beating and shooting of Simon Cuevas back in April. Surveillance video shows Cuevas walking with a group of people moments before he was killed. It happened outside SAISD's alternative school, Brewer Academy. 3 suspects have been charged with capital murder in connection with this crime. 2 of them are brothers and just 14 and 16 years old. Another suspect, 18-year-old Fernando Flores, is in the Bexar County Jail. And the 4th suspect took his own life at a home in Laredo last month. A San Antonio police officer is facing charges. According to SAPD, Cody Hagelin was charged with assault by strangulation of a family member after an incident in Medina County. At the time of his arrest, Hagelin was assigned to SAPD SWAT detail. He has been with the department for 14 years. Per department protocol, Hagelin has been placed on administrative duty. And according to our reports, Hagelin is the 6th San Antonio police officer to face legal trouble in 2025. The Uvalde Consolidated School District says they've made a lot of progress in recovering from this week's technology incident. UCISD tells us that they have restored internet, security, heating, and air conditioning at their campuses. They plan to have everything except for phones up and running Monday morning. The outage was caused after ransomware was found on the district servers. And taking a look at live cam, it looks to be a quiet, warm Saturday evening, kind of what we've seen for the last 2 weeks, essentially.
Yeah, so JP, today we were hoping for a little bit of some change. Some folks near the coastal plains did see a quick shower, but really it was the 11th day in a row where we saw our temperatures in those low 90s. Just take a look at the temperatures we saw today. 93 degrees was our peak temperature in San Antonio, and sadly, tomorrow's going to be more of the same because of this right here, that area of high pressure just to the west of us. It's really allowing for some warmer temperatures, still seeing that cloud coverage. But what you don't see is how that high pressure system is going to bring a chance for some showers tomorrow, but also what's coming behind that high pressure, bringing some rain later in the week. I'll break down what you need to know for Sunday and next week coming up in just a bit.
I'll be looking forward to it. And tonight, KSAT's very own David Elder held the Texas Eats Food Festival. Thousands of you came out to try some of the very best food and drinks in South Texas. And if you showed up, on top of the amazing bites, you probably ran into a lot of familiar KSAT faces. Such an amazing event. And this right here, this is a team that won big. The Wagon Wheel coming to us from Eagle Pass. They beat out 35 other teams that claimed the prize of Best Bite of 2025. A 3.3 magnitude earthquake was reported this afternoon in Karnes County. Later in the show, we explain why these earthquakes happen in South Texas. And these aren't professionals cutting hair and styling nails. They're high school students. The program being offered at Sam Houston High. Coming up next. Welcome back. It's a program designed to help high school students open a business right after they graduate, all while helping people look their best. Evan Karp takes us inside the classroom and onto the salon floor at Sam Houston High School.
There's a lot of ways to study psychology.
I just want to understand the human's mind and why we react to things we react to.
But before Janiyah can step into the lab, she says one of the best ways to get in someone's head is through their hair.
I want to go to college, but I also want to have just in case I need a side job to have my license so I could do hair on the side.
She's here with dozens of other students at Sam Houston High School, working to get her cosmetology certification, doing a number of treatments.
It's hair, facials, hand massages, waxing, manicures, pedicures, much more too.
Right now I'm doing a facial wax. I'm waxing her underlip.
It's all part of the program here in SAISD. Students spend their first year learning in the classroom and getting on the floor after that. And now, for the first time, anyone in the community can come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays to get their own makeover.
I want to be a personal stylist, so I'm not technically going to work in the shop, but I'll do it on the side still.
And when these students graduate, they'll have everything they need to start working and maybe even open up their own shop.
How cool is it you get to come out of this program with your certification, right?
Yes, that's really cool. It really gives us the opportunity to have a setup of a job for when we get out of high school.
Ma'am, what do you think of the service? Has it been good so far?
It's been a long time since I had the things that she's doing today, so I feel really great.
While Janiyah still has some time before going to college, she's exploring a passion for hair while learning skills you can't read in a book.
The most challenging part has been actually talking to people because I never been the type to talk to somebody, but here I am today.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
A San Antonio nonprofit of motorcycle riders is working to help kids who are facing abuse in Bexar County by bringing them into their group of guardians. The group is called Guardians of the Children, and they help kids by taking them to and from court if they need to testify in a trial or keep them company if they feel scared. The group had their 19th annual Victim to Victor fundraiser today, all to keep up their mission of helping kids.
It's phenomenal. It's not uncommon for them to come in very closed off, and I don't know if y'all heard the national anthem, but seeing them go from closed off to singing on a stage in front of a pretty full crowd, man, that's it right there.
The organization raffled off a new Harley-Davidson motorcycle, all to make sure they can keep helping children who've been through abuse. An amazing event and an amazing cause to help out children for. Looking at the weather, we've been warm, low 90s for nearly 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Rain chances coming back.
I know the weather team's been a little grateful. It's been a little quieter. We've been able to not necessarily regroup, but really be able to take a step back. But we are ready for more rain, especially because, JP, it will help our drought. Now, it's not going to be a lot. There's been a little bit of a change in the weather pattern compared to what we were just talking about a few days ago. But we've been saying that there's a lot of moving parts associated with the rain chances today, tomorrow, and even over the next week. So you will need to check back with us. Now, the rain chances actually start tomorrow. It is associated with those sea breeze showers and storms we're normally used to in areas of South Texas near the coastal plain. So that's the showers we're expecting tomorrow. Some chances for Monday, but really not going to make their way to San Antonio. But as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and even more chances next week, but I'll touch on that later on in the 10:30 half of the show. But later on about Wednesday, we're seeing a weak Texas cool front move through, and that's going to give us a chance for some nice quick downpours for most of us in San Antonio. But tomorrow, like I mentioned, we do still have a 10% chance of some showers because of any chances of those sea breeze showers moving through San Antonio. And here's a look at that. So over the next few hours, we're just going to see that cloud coverage. But starting tomorrow morning already, we're already starting to see the showers move it near the coastal plains, near Victoria down to Corpus Christi, even getting on the southern end of South Padre Island. But here's the thing, these showers are expected to make their way inland a little more. Now, not everyone is going to see the showers, and it's going to be very isolated at times as well. But we do expect some of these showers to make their way to San Antonio, not necessarily in your neighborhood or even in your backyard, but some of them might produce a quick downpour throughout the evening hours and even right before sunset. But once the sun sets, we're starting to see the chances start to decrease and really start to see that humidity decrease as well, and even getting us a nice little cool down for some folks if you do see some rain. And that's tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, we start to see the next chance of rain. So that heat high, like I mentioned, how important it is, well, that's still going to give us the temperatures in those low 90s. But here's the thing. Not only are we seeing the sea breeze showers and storms we're normally seeing tomorrow, we're also seeing some of that moisture get looped around it. But as that heat high tries to take over and move, we're seeing a low pressure system from the north move into areas of South Texas or move into portions of the center portion of the country near Tornado Alley. And there is going to be a weak frontal system that comes off of it. And that's what's going to be pushing through Wednesday. Now, like I mentioned, there's a lot of moving parts. So the high pressure system has to stay further enough away in order for that cutoff low and that cold front to move through to get the chance of some showers and maybe a rumble of thunder on Wednesday. But as those chances are on Wednesday, that's going to be midday Wednesday. So you're going to want to check up with us because there's a lot of moving parts like we've been mentioning, but still a 30% chance of showers on Wednesday, 20% Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and even Thursday into Friday. Still seeing temperatures staying in those mid to low 90s. So we are so far at 11 days. I had to double check. We are at 11 days of temperatures in those low 90s between 91 to 94 degrees. And it looks like we might be able to add a few more to the tally with fall, astronomical fall at least, officially starting Monday afternoon. So you can get the pumpkin spice ready.
I know Mary's through the roof to hear that. Pumpkin spice?
Oh yeah, every day, all day.
You
guys can take mine. I appreciate that. Looking over at sports. Well, first, thank you, Shelby. Looking over at sports, Texas high school football is king here in South Texas, in Texas. And there was a big upset, or some would perceive an upset.
Yeah, big matchup, a top 3 matchup per 12's top 12. Harlan versus Brennan, a matchup that had some district title implications. We'll show you the highlights coming up. And the 99 title winning Spurs, amongst other greats, inducted into the SA Sports Hall of Fame tonight. That and more after the break.
We felt we would never have an opportunity for San Antonio to reach its full potential as an NBA city unless we have that first breakthrough moment. And that's why it was so emotional for us in '99 and why, I cried for 3 months.
Reminiscing on the title that started the Spurs dynasty in big board sports. All right, we have district title implications, and it's only week 4. 2 favorites to win District 28 6A going head-to-head tonight at Ferris Stadium, Harlan and state-ranked Brennan. Now, the Hawks made a statement shutting out Brennan 17-0 in the first half. And senior QB Aldrich Trotter not done yet. He finds Xavier Smith over the middle, and Smith won't be taken down. The senior makes it 24-zip. The Bears finally able to piece together a touchdown drive soon after. QB Caden Glass with a dime to Jalen Kelly, and Brennan gets the monkey off the back in the third quarter. But it may be too late as Harlan gets an easy 6 Trotter to a wide open Aiden Pitchford, and the Hawks roll to a 31-14 victory in their district opener. Well, New Braunfels Christian Academy and Dehennis, the other area game in action tonight. The Wildcats improved to 4-0 with a 29-7 win. The NBA title-winning Spurs of 1999 were among the 2025 class inducted into the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame this evening. Now, the first 3 months of that 98-99 season were eliminated due to a lockout. The Spurs, of course, started that campaign 6-8, but they'd finished the regular season 31-5 on the way to the first of 5 championships. Here's what Avery Johnson and Will Perdue remember about the team and how they turned that season around.
I think the biggest thing for us was during that lockout time, the amount of time that we spent together as a team in San Antonio, working out together. which I think gave us a distinct advantage over all the other teams as they started to fracture and guys started to leave, and we stayed pretty strong.
Pop started running the offense, defense, and I started running the offense. we had a little come to Jesus meeting.
Well, Tim Dirk, the original Spurs Coyote, also showed face during what was a special evening for San Antonio's greats. Well, SMU's Kevin Jennings tossed a 34-yarder to Jordan Hudson to give the Mustangs their first lead of the game over TCU this morning. But when push came to shove, Eric McAllister was that guy for TCU. He had 254 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns as the Horned Frogs won the historic battle for the Iron Skillet against SMU 35-24. Okay, let's check out more scores. A top 20 matchup, Texas Tech improves to 4-0, defeating Utah 34-10. Texas posts 55 in a shutout over Sam Houston. Texas State defeats FCS opponent Nichols 35-3. Right now, at halftime, UTSA leading Colorado State 10-3. NAU defeating UIW in FCS action 31-23. UTRGV defeats Texas Wesleyan 61-13. They improved to 4-0. And number 23, Trinity defeats Pacific Lutheran by a commanding 45-8 final. TLU wins a thriller tonight, 38-35 over Southwestern. Now we'll have some highlights of the college football action coming up for you later in the show, including the big Longhorns game, also UIW, and we're previewing tomorrow's Week 3 NFL action, talking Cowboys and Texans. Some big matchups coming up.
The Longhorns, they start off the season with the number 1 team, or one of the number 1 over to all teams in Ohio State. Then you got what? San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston.
You know, they're getting their confidence back a little bit before
SEC
Longhorns
play. It's a good opponent. Not that those teams aren't good, but a little bit subpar to the Longhorns.
Yeah, it's not long till we see that.
Yeah,
not
we'll
long.
See that SEC play coming soon enough.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Mary. Coming up, how a 9-year-old from California is helping those impacted by the Hill Country floods. And we're taking a deep dive into the reason why Karnes County saw a 3.3 magnitude earthquake earlier today. Stick around to learn the risk of San Antonio sitting right on a fault. Welcome back, and thank you for sticking with us on this late Saturday evening. We've enjoyed warm weather, but now the rain chances are back, and not necessarily anything to worry about.
So the rain chances technically start back tomorrow, but what we're watching is this right here. It's a chance of a cool front coming through on Wednesday. It's going to be very weak, and it is going to provide more chances of rain. But although some chances didn't really see any rain today, some areas did see an earthquake today. There was a 3.3 magnitude earthquake in Karnes County. Now, some areas near Floresville did feel it, but no reports so far of San Antonians feeling the earthquake. But don't worry, we haven't seen any reports of an aftershock. So JP, nothing really to worry about, but I feel like there's a KSAT explains about this.
Yes, there is. We have enough wild weather here in South Texas, and adding earthquakes to our list of worries is not something we necessarily want to deal with. Still, those who live south of San Antonio have had a steady dose of rattling over the last decade. So why is that? And with San Antonio sitting on a fault, could we be facing a larger earthquake in the future, or earthquake risk in the future? In this case, that explains. Meteorologist Justin Horn explores earthquakes and the risks that sit below us.
Life in rural South Texas is quiet for those who live here. If you don't mind the occasional conversation amongst cattle. It's even quieter at night. That is until July 19th, 2023 rolled around.
Well, we were totally asleep. I mean, me and my wife and the dog, and all of a sudden we heard a big boom. Grabbed a flashlight, grabbed a gun, and went out to investigate.
Just down the road, Paul's father, Weldon, got the same jarring wake-up call.
Went out and looked around, thought maybe our butane tank had exploded. Thought a plane crashed or something like that.
Concern prompted a call to the sheriff's office.
They said, no, y'all had an earthquake. And this was about 11:30. And I said, no, earthquakes don't explode like that. I mean, it was a big boom, just a great big explosion.
Turns out it was a shallow, weak earthquake, measuring 3.8 in magnitude. It may have been jarring, but it wasn't the first time. Briggs recalls another tremor around 2011.
I was feeding cows. I didn't feel it. because I was on the tractor. But when I came back in the house, my wife and daughter had said something about it. Said, "Did you feel that?" And I said, "No." And she was sitting at the table, and the floor just shook for about 5 seconds.
The Riggs live along a rural road called Black Hill. It lies just southwest of Floresville. Last year's earthquake was one of more than 200 measured within the last decade, all within a 50-mile radius of the Riggs homestead, and all happening on the Eagle Ford Shale, a busy oil and gas region of Texas.
There's one directly down here, and there's 2 or 3 over here. There's actually got one that you can see at night.
Probably starting around 10 years ago, we have seen a pretty dramatic increase in the number of earthquakes that have been happening in Texas.
They absolutely are becoming more common. If you go back about 30 years, we had on average 1 earthquake per decade, and now, as anyone living south of San Antonio knows, we have, hundreds.
And by now, you've probably heard that there's a connection to oil and gas. This is, in fact, undeniably true. But how exactly? And does the future bring concerns for damaging earthquakes as the Eagle Ford play stays active? Before we get there, understanding hydraulic fracturing, which has revolutionized the oil and gas industry, and the subsequent disposal of waste is key.
Fracking is a process that allows oil and gas reserves to be freed up. It's done by drilling a well and then eventually inserting water and sand into that well to break up the bedrock below. That frees up the oil and gas.
You are going to inject fluids, sand, and a cocktail of chemicals, which every company has their own proprietary blend of chemicals, at very high pressures, the high enough pressures that it will crack the rock.
In some cases, millions of gallons of water is injected into the well rapidly. Sand is forced into the fractures to keep them open, and then the oil or gas is extracted. But that's not where it ends.
When you're finishing that process, you have to pump all that fluid back out. That ends up being a pretty nasty slurry of stuff.
The preferred method to get rid of that nasty slurry is to inject it deep back into the ground, which of course raises more concerns.
It is very tightly regulated, and if everything is done by the book, there should be no danger to aquifers.
These two connected but separate processes have led to division among geologists. Which one specifically could be blamed for the seismic activity?
So if you had asked me these questions 5 years ago, I would have said that it was almost entirely the injection of wastewater from fracking that was causing earthquakes.
But new research is revealing that it's the fracking process itself mostly causing the issues. And something else to keep in mind here, fracking is not organically creating the shaking. There are pre-existing faults all across South Texas. It's just that they'd never be active in our lifetime if not for the pressure that fracking creates, which is why they term this type of seismic activity as human-induced.
I mean, the vast majority of these are not felt. And even the ones that are felt, they are typically in the magnitude 3 range.
Which may shake your dishes. It's often not until magnitude 4 and higher that you begin to talk about damage. But as fracking continues, is there a concern that the intensities of the earthquakes will increase?
No, I don't think they have any immediate need to be worried. Certainly not for loss of life or major damage to infrastructure.
And according to Cannon, out of thousands of wells, only around 10% of those drilled ever cause an earthquake. Which brings us to a philosophical question. If there's little damage and the oil and gas industry is benefiting, do we take the good with the bad? Other than being a nuisance, are these earthquakes a problem? No, said those we talked to.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Just know not to put certain things up on shelves and stuff, but we only had one small little picture frame fall down off a shelf, and that's it.
It's good for the economy, not just Texas, not just Pleasanton, Atascosa, Wilson, Karnes County, but for the state.
You need only look at the Eagle Ford cities to see the money it's injected into the economy. And while the Riggs have not directly benefited from oil companies drilling on their property, some of their neighbors have.
Maybe it'll come this way.
Sure.
That'd be all right.
We do live in an interconnected world where if we're not producing our own oil, we are relying on regimes in other parts of the world, some of which don't particularly like us, and having our own local sources of oil, even with things like induced seismicity that come along with them, is geopolitically advantageous.
Now, let's shift north to a place that, for the most part, has avoided earthquakes: San Antonio. Remember, the Balcones Fault runs right through the city. It's an ancient fault that hasn't moved in millions of years.
These are old, really old faults that without the oil and gas production, we wouldn't have considered active. Or the evidence that they were last active is kind of millions of years ago. But these are faults that are sitting there. There wasn't stress accumulating on them until we start changing where the fluids are distributed under the ground.
In this case, though, the Balcones Fault also created the Edwards Aquifer, which comes with stringent regulation and protection by proxy.
Because the Balcones Fault system is so intimately tied to our local aquifer, there's no way that any regulator is ever going to allow any of this stuff anywhere near the Balcones Fault system.
In other words, San Antonio won't be shaking anytime soon, at least not in a big way. Still, those who work downtown might remember November 16th, 2022, when an earthquake occurred hundreds of miles away in West Texas.
In San Antonio that day, we started receiving numerous reports of those in high-rise buildings reporting shaking, which is a pretty eerie feeling considering that earthquake was some 300 miles away. Those on the ground never felt a thing.
If you imagine my finger being the building, as I move the base, a minor move in the base results in a much larger amplitude of motion at the top.
Which means the bulk of us will be none the wiser the next time the earth decides to tremor under South Texas. And those who do feel the shaking from time to time,
that's a lot,
will just treat it as nothing more than a topic for some front porch conversation. For KSAT Explains, I'm meteorologist Justin Horn.
It should also be noted that building dams, according to the USGS, can cause small quakes. Both those caused by dams and fracking are considered human-induced. We'll be right back. Help for the Hill Country coming from halfway across the country. This is Juniper Clark. We'll see her in just a moment. She's 9 years old and lives in California. Her great-grandma lives part-time in Ingram. After the July 4th floods, her family says she wanted to help. So she started making bracelets out of rubber bands. So far, she's raised $1,000, and she's trying to get even more. Most of the money she's raised has helped a kayaking group in Kerrville and the Mountain Home Volunteer Fire Department. So just a big shout out to Juniper for all the hard work. And taking a look at live cam, we've enjoyed warm and quiet here in South Texas. Things slightly changing, Shelby.
This week, we are going to continue seeing a little bit more of the same, at least with the temperatures. Not seeing a big difference with them, staying still in those low 90s, between 91 to even 95 degrees at times. But then we're watching that weak cool front. Like I mentioned, we're seeing rain chances up till Wednesday, but I want to focus on what we're talking about past Wednesday. We're tracking not only some rain chances up till Wednesday because of that weak cold front, but we're also tracking some more chances on Thursday, Friday, and even over the next 10 days. It's looking like it's going to be a little more active. And here's why. We're still going to see that normal pattern, like I mentioned, seeing some chances of some showers up until Wednesday because of that high pressure system mixing with that low pressure system to the north and this weak cool front. But here's what we're watching for after. As that cool front continues to push through, it is going to have that chance to bring us more showers. But even then, we're still seeing some excess moisture sitting on Thursday and even a little bit Friday. But then that low pressure system that we were watching just to the west is going to try to make its way closer. And on Saturday and Sunday, that could bring us some excess moisture mixed with the Pacific. But there's another low pressure system behind it that could even bring us more chances of some rain. So if you don't see any rain today or tomorrow, don't worry. We're still tracking a few more things that could bring us some chances of rain. Now, most of the rain's going to be sitting in portions of the Midwest, but here's a look at the rainfall totals over the next 7 days. Not everyone is going to see that chance of some heavier rain, but what I want to show you is where you do see the difference in that colorization. That's where we're tracking rainfall upwards of almost an inch at times, but not everyone is going to see it. Just because your neighbor sees it just a little ways away doesn't mean you will. Anywhere between 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, even upwards of an inch. So it is still changing. Like I mentioned, there's still plenty of moving parts, not only for the rain next week and even next weekend, but also the rain leading up to Wednesday, especially with that cool front attached to that low pressure system and that high pressure system. So you'll want to check back with us, and we'll continue to keep you updated with the latest forecast. But Mary will have the latest sports news coming up after the break.